Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to the Murderous Minds True Crime channel. I'm your host, Poppy, and I hope you are all well. Today I wanted to talk to you about the text messages between Jenn and Sterns that were sent the night that Maddie came home from her birthday party. So Jenn claims that on Sunday the 25th of February of this year, she arrived back home at around 10:30 p.m. She had something to eat, took her meds. She and Maddie spoke about her party, and allegedly, quite a happy Maddie told her about the party, showed them all of her gifts, and then the three of them got into Jenn's bed together. At around 11:30 p.m, Jenn then sent Maddie and Sterns to go upstairs and sleep in room number 4 because she needs a decent sleep. Doesn't matter whether her daughter does, she does. Despite the fact that she got the next 2 days booked off work. How convenient. However, per the phone records that have been released with the evidence and the document drops, Jenn and SS, they were texting each other at 11:39 p.m. that night. Jenn texts Sterns, make sure she goes to bed right now. He then replies, okay, sweetie, good night. And she texts back, good night. Then at 11:40 p.m, Sterns texts Jenn, she's built her nest and she's settling in now. Jenn replies, okay, good. She's so caring, isn't she? So a few points and questions I have here. Not once throughout those messages did either of these pair use Maddie's name. They both referred to Madeline as she. Make sure she goes to bed now. She's making her nest now. And even given that the police clearly stated that the text messages started at 11:39 hours, we know that there were no text messages pertaining to this conversation where they'd used Maddie's name. So, to me, they're just completely distancing themselves from her and calling Maddie she. And it seems to me like they planned to send these messages because there wasn't really any need to send them. Both parties were at the house. They were both in the same house with Madeline, and most likely in the same room and the same bed. So you've got the first 3 texts then that are all sent at 11:39 p.m. 3 texts in less than a minute. And then the last 2 were sent at 11:40 p.m. And of course I know they could be pretty fast texters. I mean, my daughters can send an essay in less than a minute. It's crazy how fast their thumbs move on the phone. But it would mean that both these people had to have their phones in their hands at the same time. And it just seems to me a bit staged, like a bit pre-planned. And I do have a theory about that, about those messages, and we'll get there. Per Jenn and Sterns, Jenn arrives home at 10:30. So, why, if they're in the same house or all 3 in the same bed, was there any need for those text messages? And where was Maddie building this nest? If she's in bed with them pair, where's she building this nest? Because if it's in Jenn's room, there's no need for the message because Jenn can clearly see Maddie's building a nest. So was it in room number 4? Or was it in that makeshift room downstairs? Because none of this is making sense. And by her own mouth, we know Jenn was home at this time because she herself said that she came home around 10:30. I don't believe she was ever out. I think she was home alone the whole time. But anyway, I think somebody forgot the script. And there was a few Freudian slips that came out during media interviews, and they had to change the narrative. I think the whole thing was planned. And I think these text messages were part of it. I think the plan was to make out that Jenn wasn't home until much later that night. So when she got home, Maddie was asleep already and she didn't see her. And then due to her meds, Jenn would still be asleep the next morning and still wouldn't see Maddie. That would then put Jenn in the clear. Then you've got Sterns dropping Maddie off for school. I think somebody pretended to be Maddie for the grainy church footage, which would then prove that Maddie was perfectly fine when Sterns left her, which would put him in the clear. But Jenn slips up with the timeline, gives the wrong time for when she arrives home, meaning Maddie was still awake. And the more she tries to work around the slip up, the more she has to add into the lie. So she has to fill in gaps for what the three of them were doing between Jenn arriving home and Maddie going to bed. Her story, we all went to bed together and then I sent Maddie and Stephan to sleep upstairs because I needed a decent sleep. She even slipped up again when talking about Maddie the morning that she went missing, saying she saw Maddie that morning. I bet she probably did, but I don't think Maddie was alive. But because she's already said she saw her, she's then got to add details in and add on to the lie. So she says that she saw her, she was getting ready for school, she was wearing this, this and this. I mean, they couldn't even agree on what she was wearing when they spoke to the police at Grandma's office. You've got one of them saying shorts, another saying trousers. How would Jenn know she didn't see her anyway? And then during her police interviews, I can't remember which interview it was, but she came up with an excuse about thinking that she'd heard people in the kitchen and assumed it was Maddie. To me, that doesn't explain why she said she saw her and explains what she was wearing. There's a difference between hearing somebody downstairs and visually seeing them and knowing what they are wearing. But I just think that they were all things that she had to make up as she was going along. And you can tell by the way she's talking, nothing she says makes sense. Everything is just a load of word salad. It doesn't even pertain to the questions she's asked. She'll be asked a question by the detectives in her interviews, and instead of giving a direct answer that pertains directly to what they've just said, she sort of veers around it and talks about other schnit going on. It's just weird. Nothing. She never gives straight answers for anything. And I'm also not convinced about the whole bed sharing co-sleeping thing either. I think Maddie did sleep in her own room, in that makeshift room. And I think that Jenn and Sterns made up the narrative about the three sleeping together as a way of trying to keep the attention or the investigation away from Maddie's room. I don't know, but that's just what I feel, because there are so many untruths and inconsistencies, things not adding up, surrounding these supposed sleeping arrangements, and it's odd to me that she would willingly divulge information to the police and the public unless the truth was far worse. So, what do you all think about the messages about sending Maddie to bed? What are your thoughts about the alleged sleeping arrangements, the narrative Jenn and Sterns gave regarding the Sunday night timeline? Do you believe Jenn was even at work that night? I don't. I really don't. I think that she was at home the whole time, waiting and planning. She rearranged. She planned Maddie's birthday party for a day different to her actual birthday because of people's work commitments. So why would she then be at work that night? I don't think she was, or if she was, it was earlier in the evening. But I absolutely believe she was home when Maddie arrived home, and I think they ambushed that poor girl. I think as soon as she arrived home from the party, and I've seen nothing so far to make me believe otherwise. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And please remember to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share, comment, all of that good stuff. It really does help the channel, and we're only a little bitty one. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you all think. And until next time, my lovelies, please be kind to others, take care of yourselves, and keep smiling. I'll see you all soon. Love you all. Bye.